A man once earned more from a single role than some of his co-stars made in a lifetime, yet died haunted by isolation, controversy, and a legacy he could never fully control. How does a king of cinema become a ghost of his own myth? And why did the lowest-paid actors in The Godfather end up shaping Hollywood far more than the highest-paid ones? Number 1. Marlon Brando then. In 1972, Marlon Brando was already a legend, teetering on the edge of collapse. At 48, born into a troubled Midwestern family, marked by alcoholism and emotional neglect, he had once revolutionized acting with raw intensity, only to see his reputation decline through erratic behavior and box office failures. Then came Don Vito Corleone. Against studio resistance, Brando transformed himself into the aging mafia patriarch, delivering a performance that felt less like acting and more like possession. For this role, he secured an unusual deal, a modest upfront salary of about $250,000, but a percentage of the film's profits, ultimately earning him around $1.6 to $2 million, making him the highest-paid actor overall. Now, by 2026, Brando has long since passed, dying in 2004 at the age of 80. Yet his shadow looms larger than ever. He is remembered as both a genius and a deeply troubled figure, a man who rejected his own Oscar, battled weight gain, legal troubles within his family, and a growing disillusionment with Hollywood. His estate remains valuable, his performances studied in every acting school. But in the court of public memory, Brando is no longer just a legend. He is a contradiction, a symbol of how greatness and self-destruction often walk hand in hand. Number 2. Richard S. Castellano. Then, in 1972, while Brando negotiated percentages, another man quietly secured what many insiders believed was the highest upfront paycheck on set. Richard S. Castellano, born in the Bronx to an Italian-American working-class family, was 38 years old when he stepped into the role of Peter Clemenza. Unlike Brando, he wasn't a global icon, but he was respected, grounded, and authentic. His performance brought warmth, humor, and menace in equal measure, making Clemenza unforgettable. Though the exact figure was never publicly disclosed, industry whispers consistently pointed to Castellano as the actor with the highest guaranteed salary. Yet, crucially, he had no back-end deal, no share of the film's explosive success. Now, by 2026, Castellano has been gone for decades, having passed away in 1988 at the age of 55. His career never reached the mythic heights of some of his co-stars, and his absence from The Godfather Part 2, reportedly due to contractual disputes, left a lingering what if in cinema history. Today, he is remembered not as a titan, but as a vital piece of a masterpiece. His performance still lives on, endlessly quoted, endlessly studied. Yet his financial story remains a quiet cautionary tale. The man who won the highest paycheck, but lost the biggest fortune. Number 3. Marlon Brando. Then, strip away the back-end deal and the illusion changes instantly. In pure upfront terms, Marlon Brando did not dominate the payroll. He followed behind Castellano. At 48, when he accepted just $250,000, many saw it as a compromise, even a fall from grace, for a man once considered the most electrifying actor of his generation. But Brando was playing a longer game. He bet not on immediate reward, but on the future, on the belief that The Godfather would become something bigger than anyone dared to imagine. That gamble, invisible to most at the time, would quietly rewrite the rules of Hollywood contracts. Now, by 2026, this decision is seen as one of the most brilliant financial moves in film history. Brando's upfront salary now feels almost irrelevant compared to what it represented. A shift in power from studios to actors. His choice inspired generations of stars to demand back-end deals, fundamentally altering how wealth is created in cinema. And yet, the irony remains. Even as his strategy became legendary, the man himself struggled to manage his own life and fortune. Brando didn't just play Don Corleone, he became a cautionary blueprint for both artistic genius and personal chaos. Number 4. Robert Duvall. Then, in 1972, Robert Duvall was 41 years old, a disciplined craftsman shaped by a military upbringing and years of quiet struggle in theater and television. He wasn't the loudest presence on set, nor the most controversial. But as Tom Hagen, the calm, calculating consigliere, Duvall became the silent backbone of the Corleone empire. His performance was restrained, almost surgical, earning him an Academy Award nomination. And yet, for all that precision, all that emotional control, his paycheck was a flat $36,000. No percentages, no future stake, just a fixed number, for a role that would echo through cinematic history. Now, in 2026, Robert Duvall stands as one of the few surviving pillars of that original cast, now in his mid-90s. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he avoided scandal, excess, and self-destruction. His career stretched across decades, filled with critically acclaimed performances and a reputation for integrity. Financially stable, artistically respected, and still revered by audiences, Duvall represents a different kind of success, not explosive, not mythic, but enduring. In a world obsessed with massive paydays, he became proof that longevity can outlast even the biggest contracts. Number 5. Al Pacino. Then, in 1972, Al Pacino was the outsider no one believed in. At just 32, born to a struggling Italian-American family in East Harlem and raised in the Bronx, he was virtually unknown in Hollywood. The studio didn't want him. Executives pushed for bigger names. But Francis Ford Coppola insisted. As Michael Corleone, Pacino delivered a transformation so subtle, so chilling, it redefined what power looked like on screen. And yet, for carrying what would become the emotional spine of The Godfather, he was paid only about $35,000. No bonuses, no back end, just a newcomer's wage for a performance that would change cinema forever. Now, in 2026, Al Pacino is 86 years old, a living monument to acting itself. Unlike Brando, he remained consistently present, evolving with time while never losing his intensity. His career brought him immense wealth, awards, and global recognition. But more importantly, he outlived the role that once defined him. Today, audiences don't just see Michael Corleone. They see Pacino as a symbol of endurance, discipline, and artistic fire. The man once dismissed as too small became one of the largest figures Hollywood has ever known. Number 6. James Caan then. In 1972, James Caan was 32, a streetwise kid from the Bronx with a restless energy that refused to be contained. Raised in a working-class Jewish family, he brought something unpredictable to every role. And as Sonny Corleone, that volatility exploded onto the screen. Sonny wasn't calculated like Michael or composed like Tom Hagen. He was raw instinct, rage, and impulse. Caan's performance burned fast and bright, becoming one of the most memorable forces in the film. Yet for all that fire, he earned roughly $35,000. No profit participation, no long-term safety net. Just a fixed paycheck for a role that would define him forever. Now, by 2026, James Caan is no longer here, having passed away in 2022 at the age of 82. His life after The Godfather was a turbulent mix of success, setbacks, and personal struggles. He stepped away from acting at times, battled with industry pressures, and never fully escaped the shadow of Sonny. Still, in retrospect, his legacy feels almost poetic. A career that mirrored his most famous character. Intense, unforgettable, and gone too soon from the center of the spotlight. Today, audiences remember him not for longevity, but for impact, the kind that doesn't fade, even after the man himself is gone. Number 7. Diane Keaton. Then, in 1972, Diane Keaton was just 26 years old, a young actress from Los Angeles with theater roots and a quiet, almost fragile screen presence. She stepped into the role of Kay Adams, an outsider to the Corleone world, a woman watching power from the edges, never fully allowed inside. Unlike the men around her, Kay didn't command fear. She revealed its consequences. And yet, despite being central to the emotional contrast of the story, Keaton received only about $35,000. No back end, no leverage, just a modest paycheck for a role that would anchor one of cinema's greatest tragedies. Now, in 2026, Diane Keaton is 80 years old, still alive, still active, and still admired. Unlike many of her co-stars, she carved a path beyond The Godfather, becoming an Academy Award-winning actress, director, and cultural icon. Her life remained relatively free of scandal, marked instead by independence and reinvention. Financially secure and artistically fulfilled, she represents a rare balance. Someone who started at the bottom of the pay scale, yet built a legacy that stands equal to any of her male counterparts. Today, Keaton is not just remembered. She is respected as one of the defining voices of her generation. The numbers tell one story. The lives behind them tell another. Some chased immediate wealth and vanished into obscurity. Others accepted almost nothing and built empires that outlived them. Because in the end, The Godfather was never just about power. It was about the price of it. And every one of these actors paid differently. If you want to uncover more hidden truths behind Hollywood's greatest legends, subscribe now, because the real stories are always darker and far more fascinating than the myths